Hey, this is Walt Flanagan. You're listening to Draw One Last Breath.
Welcome to a very special episode of Draw One Last Breath. My name's Matt.
And I'm Paul.
And welcome to our 10th episode.
We've got a little surprise, haven't we, with us? Who's sat to your right now?
The one and only, we talked about him a couple of times on the podcast, Mr. Geordie Paul.
Welcome, Geordie Paul.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured to be here, gents.
Good. It's good to have you here. So obviously Paul's come down all the way from where he's from is Ireland, so he's come a long way to be with us tonight, which is really cool.
Well, can I clarify? I live in Ireland. I wouldn't be much of a
from...
Geordie if I was from Ireland, would I?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, let's just have a rundown of what we're going to do today. So, we have been to the cinema and we are going to review Venom on today's episode.
God, I'm excited about that.
Yep.
Can't wait to talk about that.
Unfortunately, Geordie Paul ain't seen it yet.
Spoilers.
But
we're going to spoil the crap out of it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to review Venom, and we've also got something to scream about, which is this week is favourite what the fuck moments in horror, and we've also got our movie from the vault, which is a very special one. We've been waiting for this one, the Class of Nuke High.
Yeah, I've been winding you up for weeks about this one, but yeah, finally got you to watch it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think, especially
we'll get to that soon.
Especially after we delve into the news and find out where I've been for the last two weeks.
Yeah, here he goes.
So yeah, should we get on to some news?
Let's do it.
Cool. So I haven't got a lot this week myself. But we'll let Geordie Paul go first. You've got a little bit of news, haven't you?
Yeah, my only bit of news is the new Pet Sematary trailer. So Pet Sematary was a film you reviewed a couple of weeks ago, I think. So the new remake, obviously as trendy as it is now with the It remake. So yeah, the trailer dropped the other day and it looks amazing.
It does look good.
John Lithgow's in it, which forget everything else. John Lithgow's in it, so it's bound to be good. But it's obviously I love the first one. It's one of the first horror films I ever watched. So, but
hang on, we'll get to that in a bit.
Oh, sorry.
So John Lithgow plays Judd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's got I can't remember what his name, but the dude
Watch
from
out for those traps.
yeah,
the guy from Everest, isn't it, in Terminator?
and Rise of the Planet Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name either. But
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, that dude.
But yeah, he's in it. And yeah, it looks really cool. It's got some like strange sort of vibe to the trailer with like kids in masks with drums and stuff. So it looks looks like they've sort of taken it on a different direction.
A little bit arty in places.
Yeah,
maybe.
And there's just a lasting image burned into my brain of the cat. So the cat's obviously it looks a bit CG'd, but it looks insane. So yeah, it looks quite cool. So
fingers crossed for that one.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't do it.
I hope this one's at least quite scary.
All right.
Wow. No, it does. It looks cool. So.
Yeah, it looks good. It does look good. That's probably going to be one for the podcast, I think, further down the line.
Yeah, definitely.
The only really bit I've got is actually, Geordie Paul, you sent me a photo of the some new pops that are coming out from Split.
Oh yeah, Split.
Yeah, they look pretty cool. So I don't know if they're going to be exclusive to anywhere. I don't know about that.
I don't know. They just came on the Funko Europe website. So
yeah, they look pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really got a lot more news. But we really want to leave a little bit of space to talk about your trip to New York, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go into a minute. The only thing I had was the fact that James Wan's no longer directing The Conjuring 3.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael Chavez is set to helm.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about the guy. So,
okay.
But I just thought I'd drop that in there.
I know. I'm a bit gutted about that, really. I mean, obviously, I think James Wan will still oversee things on it. But I wonder why he decided not to. Maybe he's been offered something bigger, because James Wan's, doing a lot at the moment. And obviously he's doing Aquaman. He's done Aquaman. So I wonder if he's been offered a big meaty role of doing a different film.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took my trip to New York. So I went to New York Comic Con whilst I was out there.
Very lucky.
And yeah, after like seeing all the merch and all that, all the cool like loads of like horror stuff that I picked up these cool little critter dolls that are really good. They're like with proper hair on them. It's like really weird. But
Real critter hair.
Yeah. Picked up a couple of pop exclusives that came back that travelled really well. Yeah, Michael Myers. So I've got a Michael Myers exclusive, which
Blood Splatter,
which is really cool. So they're doing quite a lot of cool.
Especially when
cool
you take
pops.
it out of the box and look at it, really good detail.
Definitely, probably don't keep this one in the box, Max. And I got a Pennywise bobblehead, an exclusive.
This is cool.
Yeah,
this is really cool. We have to put a picture online of this.
Yeah, I'll put a picture online of that one because I've already got a Chucky bobblehead, but this is like a proper statue, so it's not like the Funkos. It's like ceramic instead of like.
Really, it looks really nice.
It's really cool.
Is it new it or old it?
It's old it.
Old
So
it.
it's,
Nice.
Tim
Curry.
Tim Curry.
Nice.
But it's limited, right?
Limited to about 500 pieces. So
worldwide.
Worldwide.
That's pretty cool, man.
So yeah, that was one of my cool picks from the show. We also got to go and watch an exclusive premiere, Titans, which is really cool.
Oh, hang on, have you not signed any waiver to not talk about this?
No.
Okay. Carry on.
I won't spoil it. It's just like
Don't want to get sued.
In the UK, we're not going to be able to see this thing. It's the new DC Universe thing that they like streaming thing, but it's not going to be available in the UK at the moment. The show we got to watch 2 episodes of it, and it's like it's quite a Punisher level dark. It's a real.
Is it quite violent?
It's really violent.
Really?
Really violent. Like blood, gore.
Well, the trailer was quite
kicking.
like the fuck Batman
Fuck
thing.
Batman.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, no, they were all talking about this whole fuck Batman because they put that in after, so that was kind of cool. There's one thing that might be a bit more up our street though, which is worth looking at. Doom Patrol. So I'm trying to check this comic out at the moment. I like
the sound of this, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Fraser came out from The Mummy.
And this is crazy because only the other day I was thinking, where is this guy been?
Yeah.
And like he's like not done anything for a long time, and then suddenly, obviously, I was talking to you about it, and then you told me, oh yeah, he's going to be in this new Doom Patrol, and I was like, oh my god.
I mean, I don't know like too much about it, but I'm trying to learn at the moment. And so I picked up volume 1 of the 1989 Grant Morrison.
Oh, cool.
Edition, because that's what it's based on, I do believe.
Okay.
And they all just seemed like a bit. We've got to watch the trailer. They all just seem like a bit like reprobates and a bit maybe depressed. And I don't know. I think they're supposed to be a kind of like I don't know the equivalent. It's just like maybe not quite Suicide Squad. They're just kind of degenerates. They're just like it's just an oddball squad. They're just oddballs. And I
kind of like this one.
I can't figure out if they're supposed to be heroes or not.
Kind of like us three.
Well, yeah, they're just basically oddballs. One's called like Mr. Robot, I think, and I think there's another one like called Race Car Steve or something like that. He's had like a crash. I got to know like more about it and stuff like that. But I'm reading the comic at the moment, so I will try and fulfill people's in. But yeah, did that, and I got to go to a very, very, very special place that I've been wanting to go to for.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
Yeah, for years and years. I got to go to Kevin Smith's comic shop in New Jersey.
Not just to stop you there, to kind of give people who listen to us a little bit of background. Obviously, we started this podcast on the fact because we listen to Kevin Smith pretty much and follow his films all our lives, and we're massive big fans. And you have always said to me, I am going to go to the Secret Stash one day. I'll definitely do it. And it's always been on your big, massive dream list.
Yes,
and you've always banged on about it. And I've always wanted to go as well, but I'd say you way more than me. But yeah, carry on, sorry.
I mean, yeah, like you said, like I've been listening to Kevin Smith's podcasts for about 8-9 years now. And then later on I picked up Tell 'Em Steve Dave. So I've been a massive Tell 'Em Steve Dave listener for the last like 7 years. Since its fruition, since it sort of came out, and listen to the guys on the podcast, Walt Flanagan, Brian Johnson, and Brian Quinn. Then that went on and did Comic Book Men, which is obviously after The Walking Dead. We don't get Comic Book Men in England, so you have to find other ways to watch it. But it's going into the shop. It was just like, these guys have been in my ears for so long. It was just something surreal. I felt like I was on a TV show just going in, because it's just hearing their voices. They got such distinct voices.
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
So that was really cool. But the best thing about it, which we'll reveal in a minute. So I when I walked in there, Mike Zapsik, Ming Chen from the Comic Book Men were both in there. They work in the shop, and the guy I wanted to see, Walt Flanagan, wasn't in there. So I was like,
I bet you were gutted at first.
Yeah, so I spoke to the guys and he said he was due to come in at midday. So I was only about an hour. So I waited. I went for a bit of...
So he obviously has a lay-in and it comes in when he wants.
So I went for a bit of lunch at Surf Taco, which if you listen to Tell 'em Steve Dave, you'll know is the shop next to it, which they always go on about. And then I went back in and he was there, and I got, I had my Tell 'em Steve... I was right geeking out. I had my Tell 'em Steve Dave t-shirt on, and I had me Cryptozoic Man comic with me, which they did on they announced on Comic Book Men years and years ago, and it's Walt Flanagan's like an artist, so he's done a couple of Batmans as well. And yeah, I was like, okay, brought it over, would you be able to sign it? And he took it out of my hand and went and did a sketch and then, amazing. And we just chatted for a bit, chatting about our podcast.
Good.
The world famous.
But yeah, also got to sit down with Walt and talk about his comic, The Cryptozoic Man, and some upcoming projects as well. So what we'll do is we'll play that next for you guys, and you can have a little listen to me having a chat with Walt Flanagan. I'm with you, Walt Flanagan from The Secret Stash.
Hello.
How we doing?
Pretty good.
We're here to talk about his comic Cryptozoic Man.
Yes.
Tell me about the conception of it. I remember it from Comic Book Man.
Right, that's right. I had the idea to do an old homage to like the Animal, Mineral, Vegetable Man, an old Doom Patrol villain, where it was like this absurd. One side of the guy was a human side of him, and the other side was a big dinosaur.
Right.
And it was always such a striking image that it was always one of those things that I always loved. And so I was just coming up with sketches, and I drew like a half man, half Bigfoot. I decided that when Comic Book Man was in full swing, they had the idea of like, hey, we should pitch a comic book to a major company, and do you guys have an idea that you can pitch immediately? And I had some sketches, and I had that sketch of Cryptozoic Man, so I went to Brian, and I was like, hey, if we could come up with a backstory to this concept of a guy who is half Bigfoot, has an arm of the Loch Ness Monster. So we pitched it to Dynamite on the show, and it became a 4-issue miniseries.
I remember getting it as soon as it came out. It was absolutely incredible. You've been drawing for like years and years and years before then. Like when you talk about it with like Kevin and stuff like that, you're into your metal.
Yeah,
my
metal music.
It reminds me of just an old like metal front cover and stuff like that, in terms of like the old monsters and stuff like Iron Maiden that you got.
Oh, okay,
Evil Eddie and stuff like that. That's what it sort of reminds me of. But you planning on drawing anything else coming up?
Working on a comic book that's coming out with Brian Quinn from Practical Jokers and my co-host on Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast called Metro.
The Metro.
It's about a man who's I don't know if you want to say possessed, but the vessel of his body is controlled by the soul of New York City.
Oh, Christ.
And there's a whole bunch. They're like these 3 weird. I would have to call them serial killers that are like this 3 psychopaths who are involved in the story. It's just a really weird and gritty book that was really makes you feel like I was like this New York in 1980s. Okay. more than current New York, I think.
So you really do like the dark side of sort of like comics and stuff like that?
No, actually I don't know. I don't say I like either or, but this particular story is a bit darker though.
It sounds it.
Yeah, I don't mind light and fluffy You know, you just can't have all dark. Then it's just too much. You know, you lose when it's really dark. You kind of like if you're feeding on is dark content. Then I don't know if that's always what I gravitate towards though.
You can have light and the dark and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I like that. I really do. But with like Cryptozoic Man, when you sort of come up with like an idea to actually draw, I suppose.
Right.
Where do you start?
I guess just something, you know, if you're just sketching and it could just be for like you're just screwing around and then you can come up with a sketch that like you like that particular character sketch and then you can build a story around it. Like that's what happened with Cryptozoic Man. It was just this corny. I mean, it's a ridiculous design character. I mean, it is absolutely to try to make it like a true horror. I thought was the comedy of it all because it's not. It's absolutely silly looking more than scary looking.
It's absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what. But that's what I was going for was that like this would be a character you would see pop up in 1950s Superman comic book. Like if Superman got the wrong color kryptonite.
Yeah.
He might have a snake arm and an ape body with a human head or something. It would be like what I was going for was that classic Silver Age absurd. In no way, shape, or form does it look scary, but look of the character. But then kind of put him into what Brian Johnson.
Because he wrote all.
He wrote it. Then taking it and being like, okay, now he looks ridiculous, but let's make the story around him like not ridiculous, or let's try to make it like really weird and I don't want to keep using the word dark, but really just strange and surreal and more than like silly, even though the character looked silly.
Because Brian's quite dark.
Yes, yeah. But is there something darker than dark?
Yeah.
What's the word that is darker than dark? That would be Brian.
Oh, this is awesome. That's cool. I can't.
Well, thank you.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's absolutely nuts.
So what did you think about that then, guys?
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Obviously, we put that in.
Yeah,
So,
I was proper nervous, but you know, it was.
it sounds like you had a great time, mate. It sounds like you had a great time. I'm glad you basically ticked off a few bucket list things there. But next time I'm coming. Don't fucking
Damn
care what
right
you
you're
say.
coming. I needed you there.
It's awesome when you meet people that like your heroes in life or people you really like look up to and like sort of fanboy on and they're actually really nice rather than being total arseholes like so.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
a
completely
good
agree.
thing. The fact that they were all really, really cool to you and they actually listen to you. Like you told me about Mike talked to you about the business cards we have and little things like that. It's just like really kind of them to do that.
They really like the name of the podcast and
Okay.
they like the little skull that we have as
skull,
well,
yeah.
like our little logo. So that was really cool.
Oh,
But
good.
like you said, like
Customer feedback always
meeting-
welcome.
Yeah, meeting your idols and stuff. I like met Doug Bradley played Pinhead.
His penmanship.
His penmanship is amazing. It's one of the best things I own as like a bit of signed craft.
Yeah.
But he was such a dick.
Was
not-
he? Yeah.
He was
I was-
not interested.
I was tired. I was tired that day as well. But he was such a dick to me because I don't know. I think I was just like acting.
Wound him up a
I
bit.
wound him up a little bit. So fair play to him. He gave
Well,
us
how
this
did you
okay.
wind Pinhead up?
I think he just said like I pissed myself when I first watched your movie. He was just like 'cause he's a
He
thespian.
didn't mean
Yeah.
laugh. He meant
Oh, like, as
actually
in-
pissed
Actually pissed
himself.
myself. He didn't take it very well. but
Brilliant.
fair play.
Maybe he thought he meant like laughed.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was a bit of a dick to me. So.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's so that's New York. So I hope you enjoyed that extra little snippet, and hopefully we've got a few other little like secret things coming soon.
Yeah.
I did meet Lloyd Kaufman
Yes.
as well at the New York Comic Con. So anything at Tromaville. So obviously we're doing Class of Nuke High later. So there might be something else maybe a bit later for you guys as well. So that was really cool. But shall we move on to our really exciting review of Venom?
Your cruel device, your blood like ice. One look could kill my pain. Your thrill.
So So this week we went and watched Venom at our local. Well, I watched it. We both watched it at our local cinema. Unfortunately, Geordie Paul hasn't seen this one, so we're going to spoil it for you.
Spoil the shit out of him.
I'm
before I say-
really sorry.
I don't
did
mind.
give you the heads up.
I don't mind. It's okay.
But anyway, so yeah, brief rundown of the film. It's obviously a Venom film. He's part of the Spider-Verse, obviously. Originally, he's a Spider-Man villain. This one, we join Eddie Brock, which is he's some kind of rogue reporter, kind of like in a relationship with his girlfriend. Everything seems to be kind of tickety-boo, and then everything takes a turn for the worst when he gets this kind of contracted kind of virus attaches to him.
Okay, yeah, it's like they call it a parasite.
Parasite,
It's
yeah.
a symbiote.
Symbiote.
Don't say that.
Symbiote. So it's not a parasite. It's a symbiote.
Not allowed to say parasite. He gets angry.
I mean, this version of it is a little bit different to the comics.
Massively.
Like you said, it's not. He's not Spider-Man's enemy.
Well, allegedly not. No. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Don't know.
he's more of an anti-hero, which they're pegging him as. In this version of Venom.
I hate that term, anti-hero. It does my head in. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's thrown about a lot nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Christ, what do we do with this movie? Okay, so it's starring Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock.
Obviously, yeah.
Michelle Williams is his girlfriend Anne. Riz Ahmed,
No, Riz Ahmed. Yeah.
sorry, from who plays Carlton Drake and Stroke Riot. And
And
Ruben,
obviously been in Rogue One.
Ruben Fleischer was the director who did Zombieland.
Which is
Great
an
movie.
incredible film.
Great
Incredible
movie.
film.
Why did he do this piece of shit? So there's my first thoughts.
Yeah.
I nearly fell asleep in the movie.
I second that.
I'm trying to find some good things to say about this movie, but it's just a pile of shit. In all honesty,
Spoilers.
it's just. I mean, it's made really good money. So
Yeah,
it
as
had
opening date, it's a lot of
£100,000
money.
budget.
Yeah.
100
£100,000.
There's 100 million.
I was gonna
100
say.
million pound budget on it, and it's done a weekend of 229 million
I've heard
worldwide.
it's gone to 400 now.
Wow. It's the best opener for a Marvel movie in October, which I don't think is a great stat. I don't think there were. I think there's one other movie that was opened in October.
Oh, was it?
In
It's
October.
like Ghost Rider or something.
Yeah, it's like what did they say about Deadpool? When Deadpool came out, it was the biggest grossing movie in February, and it's like no movies really get released in February apart from like Oscar bait.
Yeah.
So
true.
some of the stats are stupid, but I didn't go in with any expectations. I mean, we chose this because I thought in my head, I honestly thought that they were going to go for the horror side, and they had a good monster. Venom is a great monster,
Absolutely.
and I thought they could go to town on this. If we've had Logan, we've had Deadpool. Why the hell not give the fans something like horrific and go full out with Venom? But no, they give us a Spider-Man, a worse than Spider-Man 3 version of Venom.
Wow, it's worse than Spider-Man 3.
I've heard
maybe
a lot of people talking about that. The thing is for me, I went in with the lowest of low expectations because I've obviously heard all the negative comments and all the stuff on social media and stuff like that. So I went in with low expectations, and what I was met with was pretty much something paint by A to Z numbers. Like, here's the villain that. I'm really disappointed to say this, but I really like Riz Ahmed, and I thought I loved him in Rogue One. I think he's a great actor.
Four
He's-
Lions.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he's a really gritty actor, and I think, but this for him, he was wasted in, and I just think it's like he was almost like a mwahaha villain. Like I'm a like in a like laboratory, and I'm a kind of scientist, and I'm going to be the evil one. But there was just nothing about him. There was just nothing that made me.
You had Tom
interesting.
Hardy,
Yeah.
Riz Ahmed, Michelle Williams, who's an four-time Oscar nominee. You had a great
See.
cast, and you made a pile of poo.
Yeah, I mean, it was just there was parts in it that don't get me wrong, it wasn't all bad. There were a couple of funny bits, a couple of bits where I was like, oh, that's quite funny, that's quite cool. But it was just full of CGI. There was not much storyline to it, and the biggest thing, spoilers, this isn't a massive spoiler, but the biggest thing that really annoyed me, that it felt like they just jammed this little bit in, was it was kind of like there had to be a reason why Venom didn't want to go back or didn't want to be evil, and all he has is this really quick conversation with Tom Hardy's character Eddie Brock, where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stay," and Eddie Brock's like, "Why do you want to stay?" And he's like, "Because I quite like Earth and I quite like you, and we're quite good together." And that's his reason for staying.
Oh,
and it's just
get
like,
a room, will you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was just like, I was disappointed in that, and then it lost its way, and there was moments where it was there. I didn't even know what was going on. The CGI was so heavy at the end, near the end, that I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even know that they amalgamated into each other. I didn't even I missed something somewhere. There was just too much going on. I didn't think Tom Hardy was that bad. I thought he was all right.
Did you remember watching Spawn for the first time? Do you watch Spawn?
Yeah,
Geordie
yeah,
Paul?
yeah.
Great movie, but it's set.
That's debatable. Maybe for a future episode.
But it was Spawn level CGI.
This is what I mean.
Wow,
And
what?
it hasn't moved on.
It hasn't moved on. It hasn't moved on. They haven't found a way. You've got these two. Venom's sort of power is like the fact that he can create anything out of anything. So you've got these sort of like weapons coming out of him.
Yeah.
And
he can make pretty much anything he wants, kind of thing.
but he's the runt of the. I didn't know this about the comic, but they made him the runt. So his topic.
So he's not actually that hard.
No, they've made him the runt of this symbiote like race, and the main guy Riot. So they sort of have this sort of like fight at the end, and you can't tell who's fighting who, and it's
Is
embarrassing.
it just lots of just sloppy, stringy stuff
Yeah,
around the
yeah.
screen? Yeah.
And it's really annoying in the trailer as well. They show it. They show him get literally Venom getting ripped apart.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
say
like-
that bit with. I've seen that.
And that annoyed me.
Can
as
I
well.
can I ask you a couple of questions on it, just
Yeah, go
based
on.
on because I've only just seen the trailers. So like, and I've seen different people's sort of reviews about it already. And you say Tom Hardy was alright, but like his accent and just the way he goes on in the trailer annoyed me slightly because Eddie Brock. I mean, I really love the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, and I love the Venom stuff they do in that. And Eddie Brock is a bit of an arsehole. He's like a bully, and he's a very flawed character in it.
No,
but in this one, he just looks like this like everyman hero, and it's like, no, that's not what Eddie Brock is.
Yeah, he's a bit like down on his luck, and you're kind of feeling sorry for
But
him.
Eddie
He's lost
Brock,
the girl and
but he should be flawed.
Yeah.
That's why the symbiote takes over Eddie Brock, and he can't take over Peter
That's-
Parker.
exactly hit the nail on the head, because I was speaking to a guy at work, and he's Steve from work. He's a good mate of mine, and at work, and he
Hi, Steve.
basically he basically said to me, and he hit the nail on the head as well, where he basically said, I'm not really interested in Venom unless he's fighting Spider-Man. And I was like, you're right, and you're totally completely right.
See, I got a different view. I wanted to watch this movie because I just thought I had a slight hope that it was going to be a horror monster. I thought they were going to.
I get what you say, because a lot of reviews that came out.
Yeah, I
said
thought they were
that.
going to bring the gore. I thought that it was going to be R-rated.
Because there's loads of people going, it's very John Carpenter-esque and all this stuff. And,
God,
bloody wasn't.
yeah, and
That's an insult.
unless you're talking about Escape from LA.
I
and then
don't-
that might be-
I don't know if it's one of these. I don't know if it's one of these movies where let's bang it out quick because we're going to lose the rights to this character, and I really think
Is
it's
it
one
just
of those.
Sony? Is it just the studio heads getting involved with a talented cast again and
I
just
don't think
destroying
I
it? saying,
seriously think they needed to do this movie so they didn't lose the rights.
yeah.
It doesn't So it doesn't even fit in with what's going on currently in the Marvel universe, but it's stuck in there. So it's definitely happened, and all the other characters exist, but we couldn't care less. What you're saying about Eddie Brock, if they'd done that side of Eddie Brock, the down and dirty, that would have made it a great R-rated movie, and we could have had something brilliant
Yeah.
to actually talk about.
But they're not, and they're not interested
Tom
in that.
Hardy's acting in it. You get shit in, you get shit out. So his accent, no one questioned his accent. It's suddenly from Brooklyn, suddenly from Ireland, some from UK. it was like, what are you doing? I just don't think anyone cared about this project.
Yeah, I think it was just sort of loads of ideas around the table. Let's pick one out of a hat. Oh, this one looks good. Let's just do it because we've got to do the film now because everyone's signed on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never seen it, and obviously
Tom Hardy's done some good stuff. He's done Dunkirk. I mean, not everyone likes him as Bane, but I like him as Bane.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Death will come.
And I think he's a cracking actor.
Yeah.
I mean, you've look at him in things like Legend. It's
Yeah,
like
he's
where
very
he
good.
plays two characters, like
Yeah.
the craze. It's like he is a brilliant actor.
Which is probably why he got the gig from Legend, because he's playing two characters. He's
But
playing Venom and he's playing
At the
Eddie
end
Brock,
of the
but,
day,
yeah.
at the end of the day, his name puts bums on seats, and that's what they want.
Well, it puts a certain kind of bum on seat.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Sorry.
Do we want to go?
Oh, can I ask you another question just
Yeah,
before you
sure,
finish
go for
this?
it.
Right now, obviously the best villain against Venom is a certain Carnage. Now I might be asking you as a massive spoilerific thing here, right? But Woody Harrelson's in this film, isn't he?
Right. So this is.
Have you been on IMDb?
No. I heard he was in it, right?
this
And
is,
then the rumor he was playing someone called. Is it Cletus or?
Yeah.
Right. So they've done the end of credit scene.
It's
All right, okay.
End
End of
credit.
credit scene. So spoilers if you care, and this isn't a horror movie, so if you're listening to this,
You probably
we're
still
sorry.
care.
We're sorry for reviewing this, but
It wasn't my choice.
I wish I'd gone. We should have done Mandy, but whatever. So we did it. It's crap, but there was an after.
It's done.
Yeah, there's an after credit scene
Yeah.
with Woody Harrelson
Yeah.
as Cletus, but I'm gonna bring the carnage. He looks farcical as well. He's wearing this red,
Yeah.
crappy wig.
But the thing
He
is,
looks awful.
Oh,
they're setting
give
up
him
a-
ginger hair.
yeah. But the thing is that annoyed me with that is that they had to spoon feed it to the crowd, so nobody would know who he is. They had to have him say, "I'm going to bring the carnage," because otherwise no one would have really guessed who he was.
Yeah,
and
but
I
then-
think that's really bad.
But then that's just all you've done is just ruin Carnage. You could have just saved Carnage for a Spider-Man film.
They've ruined it before they've got it out. They're going to do franchises Venom.
It all
film.
depends
They're not
who's
gonna
got
see
the
another
rights to Carnage. Obviously, Fox and whoever's got
Well-
the rights to Carnage.
Sony have got it all, haven't they?
Oh, sorry, Sony. Yeah.
So Sony have got the Spider-Man and the villain rights. But like, it's just
one. That's all getting signed over to Marvel though by January.
Wow. Fingers
Well,
crossed.
They should do.
Fingers
They need somebody. Sony are getting it very, very wrong. So
Yes.
they need.
Anyway, I think we spent enough time on Venom.
Yeah, I don't want to spend any more time. We've got more exciting things to talk about.
well, I can't wait to go and see it.
Definitely go and see it so you know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, it's not shy of a bit of penny. So
No, I love I love Spider-Man. I love the villains. It's just I wish again take your time. They're just trying to piggyback off Spider-Man Homecoming and trying to do all this stuff. Just spend a bit of time.
I'm still waiting for that horror Marvel movie.
You got Morbius, haven't you, coming out?
the New Mutants next year.
Whenever that comes out.
Yeah, and that's questionable because I think they've gone back and done reshoots.
Exactly,
on
they
that.
have gone
So
back
I
on
think
reshoots.
I think they're diluting it again.
Yeah.
I
I think
first
that-
saw a trailer for that film about 6 or 7 months ago.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah, but that's the thing. That first trailer was really dark. And the
Yeah.
horror elements would look really, really good. But I think you're right, Paul. I think they've gone back and they've gone, it's too dark. We need to fluff it up. We need to get it for all ages. And I think they're going to ruin it. And
that's
I
what they
hate
did
to
with
say
this.
it.
What's what they did with this Venom movie?
Yeah.
They went all ages on it, and they don't need to anymore. You've got mature audiences. That's what DC Universe. When I watch Titans, you really like DC are trying to get their mature audience again, and they will win with this Titans thing because it's got that Netflix, not quite Daredevil, but like Daredevil season 2,
Yeah.
where it's that prison scene. It's got that level
Yeah.
of violence in it, and it doesn't look like bullshit.
The only problem I can
Yeah.
see with that is that it's going to be exclusive to the app. Unless it comes to something that's a bigger platform.
And I
That's
just
the only
hope if they're going to do that they do, like, I know this has gone into like comic book territory, but if they're going to do it, they don't just do violence for violence sake. How many times can you just see Robin go, fuck Batman, fuck Catwoman,
We
fuck the
saw-
Penguin,
we
it's like,
saw
well,
2 episodes
and it was good, yeah.
It had I want to watch a third one.
Cool.
And so it sucked me in, and what it's centered around more than Robin, it's centered around Raven. Now the Raven element is something that I haven't seen.
She's pretty badass as well.
She's incredibly dark. There's something like living inside her. I mean, I haven't seen the Teen Titans and stuff like that, or whatever it's based on. But the thing that's inside her, there is some apps. What it does to people is nuts, and it give me shivers sometimes when I was watching it. So it's going to be dark.
Cool.
Just not that thing.
Nice one.
Right, move on. Venom. What are you rating it?
Oh, I don't know. I'd say, I know we've been quite down on it, but I'd say probably a 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
4.
4. That's quite generous.
I'd say 4 just because there's a couple of bits that made me laugh.
I'll go 3. I
Yeah.
mainly
It's a shame.
a good attempt.
It's a shame.
I mean,
I have high hopes.
the fact that it's got Woody Harrelson in it, but that's about, for about,
Gets a mark. Just
for
gets a
about
mark.
5 seconds.
He's a 10%er.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, cool.
So, does it draw one last breath? 4 out of 10. Pathetic. Okay, so last episode we pulled this is our chance to do something to scream about, and last episode we picked out of the bucket our favourite what the fuck moment.
Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready, let's get ready, let's get ready to rumble. Watch us wreck the mic, watch us wreck the mic, watch us wreck the mic. Psych.
We
So this
sure
is-
did.
Yeah, this is basically that moment that is just sort of stuck with you, and you just stunned. It's kind of just stunned you, and just made you. It's something you just can't forget.
Yeah.
We've Geordie Paul, you've bought a couple as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's start with Geordie Paul then.
Well, yeah, but before Geordie
on.
Paul starts, I wanna kind of hear from you. Where, for you, did horror start in your life?
Ooh.
From the day I was born. No.
There we go. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
I
day
came
one,
into-
I watched
came
this
into
film.
the world.
Yeah. It's really funny because obviously I'm chuffed that you've invited us on, and obviously I listen to you all the time. But like I don't think I class myself as a.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the money for them t-shirts though, but never mind, listeners. No, I wouldn't class myself as just a horror fan. I'm much more of sort of a rounded film fan, but I really like good horror films, and I get scared by like weird ones which other people don't really find scary, and it's just one of them. I don't know.
What's your
Like-
first earliest memory?
The
of
earliest,
horror?
the first horror film I can remember watching as clear as day is Pet Sematary. And my mum got it. I remember my mum got it. I think we were about 6 or 7. I've got a twin brother, and we the video man used to come round in the boot of his car.
I love
And whenever I tell this story, people look at me weird
No, I
because they
remember
think he
that.
was some like dodgy man, but it was legit back in the day.
Yeah.
He used to come around his car. His boot was full of videos. He would just knock on the door. My mum would go out. He'd open the boot of his car, and then she'd pick a video.
And then Mum was gone.
Then mum was gone. Yeah. Returned to us 17 years later, a different woman. No,
I'll
so,
tell you what, that's the start of a horror movie. We need to
yeah,
write
damn
it.
right, yeah, write it down.
So what you're
Copyright.
trying to tell us is that you're the video man's son.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. I
Carry
was
on,
taken
sir.
to a Pet Cemetery. No, so Pet Cemetery was the first horror film I ever.
That's not a bad place to start.
I ever saw. Yeah, and I remember. It didn't scare me as a kid, but my brother kept them up all night. And then the second horror film I remember watching was It. The TV thing.
TV
And I'll never forget it. And I've got a real soft spot. I mean, Paul, I'm very much like you. Like, I love Stephen King. I've read pretty much 90% of Stephen King's books. And I just...
You're more like my mum than me.
All right,
I've
okay.
only read probably about 5% of his books.
All right, okay. Well, you need to read more.
I've started with the movies.
Yeah.
More so I've seen like Langoliers, and I've seen
Yeah.
some really ones that aren't on everyone's radar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've started to read.
I
Love
really,
it,
I really
love
like
it.
Night Shift's one of my
Yeah.
favourites.
Night
Just
Shift's a
because there's
great
loads
one.
of different stories in one, isn't it?
Yeah. That was made into a film, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or was
with,
it a TV
Cat's Eyes.
series?
Yeah,
Or...
Cat's Eyes.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor, Shallow Grave. That was part of it, wasn't it? That was
Don't
one of the short
think-
stories.
I'm not sure about that. I know that Cat's Eyes was definitely.
Wasn't the one
some
about
sort.
rats in a theatre or something? Or was that something completely...
I can't remember.
The cracker might be going to my head. Yeah, so I've got an affinity for Stephen King. Obviously, Jaws is one of my favourite ever films. So yeah,
Good lad.
The
Yeah,
Pauls
it's
have got something in common. But I
literally
do like them.
after sort of Star Wars has its own little place in my heart, but then Jaws is essentially after Star Wars my favourite ever film. So Yeah.
So that Spielberg, it's that Spielberg generation, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, I love it. But I couldn't watch Jaws. And do you know what? I'm one of these. Jaws just doesn't date. I mean, you can go on about the shark all you want, about how it looks fake and whatever, but it's not about the shark, the film. It's about
what
so
you don't
much
see.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
about what you don't see.
you know, the documentaries of the music when the shark's there to substitute the shark. It just fascinates me and always
Have
has
you read
done.
that book
So.
I gave you yet?
Which one?
I gave you a book.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't read that. It looks pretty though.
Bastard.
That's one of the things I was looking at for Con. It was Critters memorabilia and Jaws memorabilia. I didn't see anything that I fancied for Jaws, unfortunately.
Oh, it's.
So
I love it. I always have done. I was little. I had a fascination with sharks, and I think that's where it came from. And
see, you obviously worked with Matt as well for a little bit and stuff like that. So with the podcast, do you watch the movies that we like?
Well, I've seen a lot of them.
You've seen a lot of them already.
Or what you've already talked about, so like Poltergeist, Pet Cemetery, and all that type of stuff.
Cool.
Obviously, I haven't seen the newer stuff that you've talked about. Actually, though, I haven't seen it yet, but I got. Am I allowed to mention companies on this? Or
If not,
yeah, well, I subscribed to Sky recently in Ireland, and when you do, you get a
That's
free
Sky.
Please send me free subscription. Sky Sports for a month, thanks. No, but that Revenge is reviewed,
Yeah.
so you get like a free Sky Store download,
Yeah.
whatever. And I downloaded that, so I've got to watch that. Yeah, just off the bat of what you guys
It's
said.
amazing.
You're enjoying
So
that.
if it's
Yeah.
shit,
Exactly.
if it's shit, I'm blaming you guys.
Wow.
So yeah, that's where sort
sort
of horror just sort of forms just part of my usual just film. I like a good horror. I like going to the cinema. My wife hates horror films, which is always really funny when you go to the cinema because she's so scared of it.
So, what is your favourite horror of all time?
So my favourite horror of all time is 28 Days Later.
Oh, good
Good
pick.
Good pick.
I love Danny Boyle as a director anyway, so I don't think he's done a bad film in my opinion, to be honest. But I love it just from the obviously living in London for a while and seeing it like desolate.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of a feat to behold, but I love it from start to finish. I love the zombie in it. The zombie in it. I love that. Love The Walking Dead as well. So obviously all that type of, like I said, on your own, not really knowing what's going on, and then it just turns it on its head all the way through. Like, and then you get to the army, and then it. You're like, what's going on? The zombies aren't the bad guys anymore, but they are the bad guys.
It's the Robert Kirkman thing. Do you know what Robert Kirkman's swears? Well, he before he did The Walking Dead, he'd only just watched Romero, so Walking Dead wasn't based on anything like that. It was just a good idea that he had, and he hadn't even seen 28 Days Later.
Wow!
So he based, and the contrast between the start of The Walking Dead and 28 Days Later is like
it's like the same thing, isn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah. But so
He's
that's
a liar. I'm joking.
that's my
I love
favourite.
Robert
The scariest one, though, it's not the thing that scares me the most, though. The scariest horror film I've ever seen, which still freaks me out to this day, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It freaks me out.
Yeah.
And I get really scared. I've got this like fear of hillbillies and like inbreds.
You go to
Like,
Texas recently?
oh yeah, I went South America. You go to New Orleans, you see a few. But yeah, it's just that type of stuff scares me. So I can watch sort of monster films and it's sort of, you know, it can be intense, but I know like they're monsters. It's just that sort of realism, like Hills of Eyes, Deliverance, even though it's technically not a horror film.
No.
Deliverance for me is got to be
haven't
one of
seen
the scariest films of all time because it's just something that can happen. And so that's it. Yeah, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably the scariest film I've ever seen, and still freaks me out this day.
It is.
So Toby Hooper, unfortunately, who passed.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
I mean, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just, it holds up. No matter how many times I watch that film, it just, that first scene where the first death sends chills down my spine. It looks so real.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
70s, they've done so well in the 70s. There's some good ones that come down.
That was just a turning point. It was just a turning point for horror.
It's just the dinner scene and everything about it. It's just
It was
wrong.
warped.
Like, you know, the
warped.
police.
And that's, you can see where Rob Zombie gets all this stuff from. It's just like, because the other day I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and lots of people don't like it. I think it's a bit like Marmite. People love it, people hate it. But I watched it, and it didn't. It's no way as good as the first one at all. But it's a different kind of. It flips it, and I enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoyed it. It's on Netflix at the moment, so if you get a chance, you should check it out because I forgot how good it was.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the latest one that
Bill
came
Moseley.
out. I watched Leatherface and stuff that come out.
I don't think that was. I watched
I thought
that.
it was
Yeah,
good.
I on your recommendation. I didn't think it was that bad. Not tall enough, but
Yeah, yeah, I'll give
that's
that.
for another podcast.
That's another podcast.
Anyway, let's get back on to
Something to scream about then. So
Yeah.
we're doing our favourite what the fuck moment. So
yeah,
Geordie
Geordie
Paul,
Paul.
let
Let's
us know
let's
what
go.
you got.
What's your first one?
Okay. So, what the fuck? Going back to Stephen King.
Synergy. Go for it.
Great film. Oscar winning for Best Actress, I believe. But the hobbling scene in Misery,
Good pick.
which
Great pick.
which
Oh my
is
God.
just. I remember the first time I ever saw it, and I hadn't actually read the book. So if you read the book,
It's
it
worse.
doesn't
I've read
actually
the
happen,
book,
So
so-
yeah.
you're talking about the bricks and
yeah.
the
So where
such
she
like
puts, he wakes up. He's obviously got out of the house, not got out of his room. She doesn't realise, and he's gone around, and then he knocks that ornament, and he
Yeah.
turns. Is it a penguin or a dolphin or something? He turns it around the wrong way. And then you think he's got away with it scot-free, but she's noticed that that's gone and made the
Oh,
connection.
God, the
and then he
tension,
wakes
innit?
up and the lightning flashes and she's just stood over the bed. And he's like, Jesus, what's going on? And he's got that wooden block in his leg. And then she just twats him with a mallet.
And you see
And
the
you
ankle
see
turn.
it. And you just, it's just...
They show everything.
It's
warts and all.
just hopeless. And obviously the book, like I said, I've read the book after it. And she
does
actually
something-
cuts his foot off in
Yeah,
the
she
book.
cuts the foot off in the
Oh,
book,
Yeah, yeah, she actually cuts his foot off.
Ooh.
But I just think that...
But Kathy
It's
Bates
work-
and James Caan, they are
Yeah.
just...
Oh,
It's James Caan, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. At the end of the film, when he has that hallucination where she comes out and serves him dinner, and it's like, oh my god. But yeah, so that was the first what the fuck moment for me.
I like that.
That's a good pick because like that you almost forget about that, and then when you say it again, it's like, whoa, I remember that. Oh my god, that's because I remember my friend had it on VHS, and I went around his house because we used to watch horror films together, and he lived 5 doors down from me, and I went down, and he actually put that on VHS, and I was like, this is pretty boring. And I was like, what is this about? Just some crazy... And I was like, oh my god. Literally, what the fuck? It literally was
Yeah,
what the
I
fuck.
watched it with my... There's another one I watched with my mum.
Yeah.
She let us watch that as teenagers and stuff like that. My good old mum.
Yeah.
To this. That's another good
I'm
one.
going to report to the authorities.
But she did win an Oscar for that, didn't she? I'm sure she
What,
would.
my mum?
Pause.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kathy Bates.
Did she win?
She did win an Oscar for it. I'm sure she
really?
did. Oh, she definitely got nominated for an Oscar.
Well, I'm
for
looking this
role.
up in a bit.
Wow. Cool.
Am I
Before you
following
go.
up that? So
Yeah,
I'm going to
you
go
go.
with Stephen King then as well.
Oh, he's
I'm
going to
follow
raise
it.
you.
I'm going to see if I can trump you. So this is
Don't mention Trump.
from the TV miniseries It, and it's the bit where Belch gets picked up by the It thing and taken through. He gets folded in half
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
like...
taken through the sewer
Yeah.
drain, and it's just the slowness of it
Yeah.
that just absolutely got me. And he's dragged, and I always thought that he wasn't. That's got to be humanly possible, but it's not. You can't bend that way unless you're Simon. But then he's literally like letterboxed through the pipe, and then it obviously comes back for Henry Bowers and stuff like that. But that for me, that has stuck with me since I was a kid. It freaks me out. It's one of the most freakiest moments in that whole TV miniseries, and they didn't do it. They did it differently, obviously, in the latest version. But yeah, when Belch gets folded in half, that's my one.
What the fuck moment. That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah, go on then, Matthew.
Well, I've gone a bit newer than you boys. I'm sorry, it's not Stephen King. Sorry to let you down. But
You stepping out of the
That's
80s?
poor taste.
unfortunately I have to.
Actually, I
because-
think Misery's 90s, so...
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going a bit even more recent. I'm going with the seed in Don't Breathe. It's the turkey baster.
That's fucking genius!
And
Yowza.
no one can come at me with this. Because, like, literally, I went to
Paul's
the
gone.
cinema.
He's gone. He's gone.
I gotta say, I went to the cinema. We actually did a double header, didn't we, Paul? We went and saw the Purge movie. I think it was Election, and then basically we hopped it around in the car and literally went across town, went to the other cinema, and we watched Don't Breathe. So it was two relatively great movies. And Don't Breathe to me is one of my favourite recent movies.
It's one of the best in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right up there with It Follows.
And literally, I could not tell you. I went in completely blind on this movie. I hadn't seen any trailers, nothing about it. All I knew is that there wasn't a lot of talk in this movie. And there's one particular scene where they kind of, well, everybody probably knows the premise of the story. It's, these people, they go into this house, there's something in this house, they think it's worth money or it's money, and the guy who lives in the house is blind. They don't realise that he's there, so they break into his house, he's there, but there's a completely different motive, that he's actually, it's kind of two what the fuck moments really. There's the moment when they discover a pregnant lady literally like chained to the wall in his basement, which is you didn't see coming at all. But then there's a scene irrelevant to that, totally irrelevant, where one of the girls gets captured by the blind guy.
Jane Levy,
yeah, she's brilliant. Jane Levy. She gets captured and put in this kind of like, almost kind of like, I want to say stirrup sex swing type thing. Like
Let's go stirrup.
Yeah,
it's a family show.
and she's in this thing, and what he wants to do is and I hate to say this, but it's almost sad because all he wants is another child, and
what does he get?
You almost kind of feel sorry for him because he's
Christ,
lost
you're milking
his
this
child.
one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Isn't the woman in the basement the woman who killed his son?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so he reaches into the fridge and brings out a turkey baster full of something. He reaches in there for the turkey baster, for the.
He's gonna go every time you say turkey baster. He is.
The BMS, brings out the BMS. And and it does a close up of the Petri dish, and there's a pube hanging off the Petri dish. And it's just like, I was like, no.
Do you know before HD you would never have been able to say that pube?
I was broken in the cinema. When
anyway, so that's I think that's a wow-worthy what the fuck moment.
That's cracking.
Come on, if anybody come at me with that, it's just like, I was like, they're gonna, they have.
I mean, we're not going to let you know if she gets turkey basted or not, so you have to go and watch the movie.
Yeah,
and
please.
find out
What a
why.
movie, though. I love it.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to watch that again.
Yeah.
Can we just highlight the fact that Matt talked about a film with a blind man and he said, I went in completely blind and I never saw that coming.
2 puns. And he didn't even know he did
I didn't even know I did that.
It's comedy gold.
Oh, fantastic. Right, so let's go round again. Geordie Paul, it's your turn again, mate.
I'm not sure I can top the turkey baster, but my second what the fuck moment is the end of the film Eden Lake.
Oh, you fucker. Okay.
So
It's got dark memories for me, this film.
Oh my god, like I watched this not knowing what it was. I think it was on like Film 4 or something late at night.
It was film, yeah. It's film.
And I watched it and I thought I'll just give this a go and see what it's like, and it terrified me again. What I was saying earlier about like real horror, like no monsters, no slashers, not whatever. It was just demented kids who could just fuck up your life in a minute.
And it's Jack O'Connell as well.
Yeah.
From Skins, who plays a psycho.
And the guy from This Is England with the goggly eyes. Yeah. And just like
Sean
again,
Turgus.
you go through this film. You know, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, Fassbender, yeah. Early days.
And he's gone by this time, and she's like gone through the mill with it. These teenagers just fucked up her life, and she's run away, and she's got away, and you think, yes, she's found a house, and she gets in the house, and
Kind
she's
of a
trying to
community, isn't it? It's like
and
almost
she's
like
If it's in America, if it's an American movie, it'd be like a cult, Christian cult thing that she'd found.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, she just goes into the house to try and phone the police to say, "Look, this
Yeah.
has happened."
It's like a
and then
council
she gets
estate.
it, doesn't
Like
she?
a council estate.
And she gets in the house. She's obviously in this house, and then she realizes, "Hang on," and then you realize that she's actually in the house of the kid who's been terrorizing her, and he comes home basically just to get his dinner.
Yeah.
And it's just at the end of it, and you just
She's
sit
locked
there,
in it.
go,
She
yeah,
locks
she
herself
locks
in the
it,
bathroom.
yeah, and she's
Yeah.
just, and doesn't it just end?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, like shit. Yeah, and I just remember sitting there, the credits rolled, and yeah, I was just done, literally done.
Because
And I
you
just sat there
don't-
by myself for half an hour just going,
You
So I was saying
basically,
that film drained me.
Yeah.
watching
yeah,
it.
basically you've got to come up with your own ending.
yeah,
It's like what happens.
well, what happened?
And it's just like it's such a British movie to end on.
Yeah.
That would have bombed in the States, I can tell you, because they love happy endings. But it is so dark, and it's like you said, and you touched on it. It's something that could really, really happen. It's just like it's too real because they're in the middle of nowhere and it
Yeah.
could happen. It's
Just terrifying. Again, that type of stuff terrifies me.
Yeah, I agree.
Real-
Good
real
pick,
stuff.
man. Good
Dodgy English chavs.
pick. Right, okay, so my second pick then, is it?
yeah, go for it, Paul.
Okay, I'm going for 2006. I hope I got that year right. Saw 2. And it's the bit... So, with the Saw movies, there's always some fucking fucked up shit that actually happens in these movies. But this scene gets me. It makes my skin crawl and everything every time I think about it. And I rewatched it again the other night when I got home. And it's when Amanda, who's sort of the double agent in...
Yeah.
She gets thrown into the pit of needles
Yeah. I remember.
and by Frankie G. He's an arsehole. But they've obviously got to get this like serum or like key to open up another thing, and someone's got to go in. But she, they could have. I don't know how they could have done it a nice way. She just picks her up, launched it in. She's like got these needles like in her arm and all this sorts of stuff. And then the times obviously starts running out. She's crying, she's crying, and she just starts clambering at the needles and stuff. And it's
Horrific.
It's a horrific scene. It makes me go numb sometimes watching it.
The best thing about that scene, though, is that it completely sets up the finale of it. So
Yeah.
you never think that now she is the evil one, and
Yeah.
because that just takes her out of the game essentially.
Yeah,
And you're like, yeah,
It's
well,
horrific because
she
like
can't be the bad guy because she's just been chucked into a vat of needles.
doesn't
Yeah.
she have like a drug addiction? That's why as well.
Yeah,
That's
that's-
why.
that's-
She's
So-
the girl from the first one, isn't she? Like the first ever
no,
with the
because-
cage on her head.
Yeah, it's
No.
revealed at the beginning, or at some point on the one of them, that she had the thing. She escaped from one of the traps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she becomes little helper. But she's in there sort of like as a making
Yeah.
sure things are going the right. But she's great
Yeah.
at doing that. And I had to watch the
Making
behind the making of.
Yeah, I was
could
just
get
about to talk
so
about
I-
that.
See how
so
they
I could
did
get over it.
Yeah.
That scene because
That's so weird
seeing
because
how
that's
they put-
exactly what I did.
yeah, how they put the needles in her arm
Yeah.
and all that. So it took me out of it. But it's still, if you
So it
haven't,
looks so real though.
it looks real.
When they
It's
chuck
so
her in
real.
it, she's scrambling to get out, and you're like, how did they do this? And then I did exactly the same. Went and saw the making of, and you have to go and watch it because
Yeah.
it's really interesting how they
If
made
you
it.
want to get the horror out of your
Yeah.
beard. Right, so that's my WTF. Go on then, Matt. What's your last one?
The last one, and again, this is a good one, but for me, it was the end of the movie. Oh, I should have done this last one. Stephen King, The Mist.
Oh,
So
oh my god.
Oh,
basically, you go
bless
through
Tom
this
Jane.
movie.
Oh my
You go
god.
through this movie. You go through the motions, and I do believe it's Frank Darabont that
Yeah.
directed
was,
it.
yeah.
So it's a who's who of Walking
Walking
in
Dead
this
characters,
movie,
yeah.
Um,
Damn you, Carol.
But then the very end of this movie, spoiler alert for those who obviously don't want to know what happens at the end of this movie, is a guy is literally trying to get away. They finally get out of this kind of supermarket that they've been in for a most of the film. Finally get out in this car, and they're in the middle of nowhere, and it breaks down. I think it breaks down, or they run out of petrol.
Yeah, they run out of petrol.
And he's like, it's him, his wife, and his son. And literally, he's like, well,
It's not his wife. It's just somebody. Yeah, his wife's already.
Yeah, that's right. And he just doesn't know what to do. And obviously, they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, well, we're definitely going to die. So I don't want to get killed by these, eaten by these, whatever they are. So he's got a gun, and literally, so he basically kills the woman that's with him.
Yeah.
And then literally kills his own child.
As
son.
he wakes up, it's how he wakes up because
Yeah,
he's asleep and he wakes
in
up
his
and
arms.
he goes,
just
"Dad?"
kills him. And then literally he puts the gun to himself, just about to pull the trigger, and out from the mist comes the army.
No, he doesn't. No, he
Save him,
No,
do they?
doesn't. No, he has no bullets left.
No, he
Oh,
said.
So
really?
he's only got. He has to
Forgot
sit.
about that.
So he kills the woman first,
Yeah.
and then he has to kill his son because otherwise his son has to be eaten by
Oh
whatever's
yeah,
in the
so
mist.
that's
So
right.
then
Yeah.
he kills him, and then he's like literally sits there crying, and then gets out, and he's like, "Right, come on!" Like screams or something.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, the army just come down and take down the mist, and he sees
That's
it's
it.
Carol, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think Carol from The Walking
Yeah.
Dead with her two lasses who left this shop
Mm.
earlier on. And you just presume they got eaten,
Right at the start.
and like they're just looking at him, going past, just to look as if to say, "Fuck you! You should have left when we left."
And it's
But
like the biggest gut punch in the world.
yeah, and if he waits like 20 seconds later, his son will be alive.
It's done for, wasn't it? And it's just like the biggest. You just
There's
don't think it's
three
going to finish
people.
that.
There's 4 people in that car. It's not.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, there's
Is there
another
another
person in
man?
the car. I thought it was
Was
her.
there? I
I
can't.
thought it was
It's been,
her and
I've got to
her
be honest.
daughter.
It's been a long time since I've
It's
seen it.
someone from The Walking Dead.
Because he hasn't got enough bullets.
Probably
for him.
like some really low down character.
Yeah, don't they pull straws to see who dies or something
I
like?
don't know.
I can't.
But yeah, it is a fucked up moment. And that movie is freaking brilliant.
The book doesn't get out of the supermarket though. I don't think because it's only a short story. They missed.
And they did a TV show.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Nah.
I haven't seen that. It's
Remember the
good.
Shermanator dies though at that garage. Good. The Shermanator from American Pie.
Yeah. So that's my pick.
That's
Cool.
a very I agree with that.
What about our social media then? So we because you put the question on there, see what some of our social media has said. So we got on Twitter. Oh God, Ryan Martin at that Ryan Martin has said most of a Serbian film. Yeah, I can
Oh,
sympathise with
Oh,
that.
dear.
And he said at Lawrence R. Harvey getting a centipede out the bum. So he's always talking about human centipede.
I've not seen that.
I hope he's talking about human centipede.
At the centipede. I don't know what that is reference to, but some Phil Ken 7 says Deep Blue Sea, where Samuel L. Jackson gets eaten by that shark when he's just halfway through his speech.
That's
That is
classic.
very good.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I remember that in the cinema. It's pretty cool. AWOL podcast said the big reveal in Sleepaway Camp. I haven't seen this movie. What do you know what he's on about?
I haven't seen it either, and I feel really bad because it's meant to be one of those classics.
Right. Well, I'm going to go and try and watch this film
Yeah,
in
definitely.
the next week, so I'll find out what he's talking about. Patrick C. Green says Night of the Demons, lipstick meet inner breast tissue. I mean, it sounds amazing. I'm watching this movie now,
Yeah.
Night of the Demons. That's been on my list for
Damn
a while.
right. It's on Netflix.
This is cool from Instagram. We've got Leon D'Antonio. Is that from the Boo Crew?
Yeah, this guy he knows his horror, man. He runs a podcast called The Boo Crew. It's a fantastic podcast, and obviously I think people should go and listen to it because they know their horror. It's such a really good podcast to go listen to. It's really well produced. He's a great guy. He knows his stuff.
You turned me onto it, and I'm it's on my list now to listen to every week. So yeah, the interviews are fantastic. So he says it's a toss up between Jigsaw waking up at the end of Saw. That's a great reveal, or
Yeah.
the ending twist in Pet.
Yeah, I haven't
It means
seen
Pet.
Pet.
He must mean Pet. That's a movie, is it? So it's not
yeah,
Pet Sematary.
no,
It's not that.
it's a movie called Pet.
Oh, okay.
I think it's pretty much. I think it's got the. Is it Dominic Monaghan from
okay.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
I think it's about where he captures a girl, puts her in a cage that he really fancies. But I haven't. I'm pretty sure it's that. If it's not, it might be something. Might be a different movie.
It could be
called
Pet Cemetery with the ending
It might
right at
be.
the end.
But I'll have to find out for sure.
And then I think on have we got any on Facebook?
Yeah, there is one on Facebook.
What's the one on Facebook?
It's Katie Stewart. She said, this is spoilers again, so if you don't, there's a lot of spoilers here, but when I found out about Nicole Kidman and her children were ghosts at the end of The Others, which was a brilliant shout. That reveal is fucking crazy.
Wow, that was fun. I like that one. I fucking laughed like that.
That's a good
for
one.
Yeah.
ages. Okay, so this week's move from the vault, I picked it out, and it was Class of Nuke High.
was indeed. Obviously, you met with Mr.
I met
Kaufman
with
and
Mr.
stuff.
Lloyd Kaufman, so hopefully you might listen to this episode. So hope you guys are going to be really nice about this movie.
Oh.
But
Oh, no.
I'll tell everyone a little bit about what's going on with this movie. So Class of Nuke High is based in the world of Tromaville, and it's a film about high school students who go to school next to a nuclear power station, and lots of antics happen from there when they smoke loads of intoxicated weed. We're met with this gang called the Cretans. We've got Warren and Chrissy, but a bunch of preps who haven't had sex yet. And it's just one of those movies where you've got to watch it, because I don't even know if we talk about it, we're going to be able to do it justice, because it's so awesome. So yeah, Class of Nukem High, 1986. So Matthew,
Yes.
what's your first initial thoughts on this movie?
Okay, so obviously I've never seen this movie in my life at all. I put it on, and I didn't even have to play your dodgy DVD copy, because I went straight on to YouTube and I found a HD version of it for free. But yeah, I stuck it on and I was like, wow, this is proper 80s. Like, I know it was shot in the 80s, I know that, but this film literally is the 80s.
Yeah, if you want to watch a movie that symbolises everything right with 80s horror and what people just try to go out there, this is what you want to watch. I watched this when I was 15 years old, with a young lady called Hayley and my brother, and this is probably
Not 3 young boys.
No, this is probably one of the most mental. This film has stuck with me since I was 15. So
Would
a while.
you say it holds a special place in your heart?
Yes, because of just how fucking wacky. I don't think. I mean, if anyone out there like appreciates horror, like I do, in terms of just films that have like that really messed up gore for gore's sake, then they would like any Troma film. So like Kaufman's done like Toxic Avenger.
Of course, yeah.
He's in Class of Nukem High, obviously, but we've done Return to Class of Nukem High, and there's about 3 or 4 other sequels. So the whole Troma thing is just based around, it's just B movies, and he's got his own studio. He's such a gent. Let's talk about this movie as a whole. The story. What's your thoughts on the story, Geordie?
So I tell you what, I can agree with you one thing. The film sticks with you. So like I'd never seen it before, so I watched it on YouTube last week when I found out I was going to be on for my research, and yeah, wow, it is of its time, shall we say? It's
firm,
but I can understand. So when I watched it, I finished, and the missus was like, "Oh, what did you think?" And I said, "Do you know what? If I'd have watched that as a kid, I'd have probably thought that was amazing." And and to be honest, I remember watching Bad Taste as a kid, thinking this was like probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Not because it was shot well or done anything, but it was just, as a kid, you're not really supposed to be watching this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's got funny bits in it, but it's got gore in it, it's got violence in it, and you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Fast forward 20 years later, and you're like,
what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah. And it was just utterly bizarre. It was bizarre. Like, it obviously it cuts in straight away with this, like, rock, like, anthem behind it.
It's got a great soundtrack.
Yeah, so I knew you were going to say this for the soundtrack, right? So, but it's like, the soundtrack's still going on 15 minutes into the film. It's still going on. It's as if someone forgot to press the stop button on the button. And, like, they're talking, they're just dialogue, but the music's still on in the background. And I don't know if this was meant to be, but, and Paul, I don't know if you can enlighten us here. Like, why do all the extras in the background dance?
Why not?
Well, exactly, why not? But
why not?
They're just talking about going to a party in the afternoon, and there's 2 kids that are completely unrelated to the story just dancing wildly behind them.
This is the beautiful thing about, like, Troma. It's just like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm sure that these extras were just told to do whatever they felt was natural.
Just go with it, All right, I'm going to dance.
I mean, let's talk about some of the central characters, shall we? So you got Warren and Chrissy. They're the two.
Yeah.
And then you've got the cretins.
Right, the cretins, like the Mad Max rejects.
It's a beautiful. So yes, I like this. So Mad Max rejects.
They are. They look like Mad Max, right? They look like the Beyond Thunderdome. But you know what I love about it? The plot point, which explains why they are, and it's like, oh, who are they? They're the cretins, and the cretins, I think, cretins in America. Yeah. And they used to be preppy kids who once smoked weed.
They used to be
now,
the honor students.
Oh, the honor students who now like just and
I mean, one of them's got like, okay, so one of them walks around with a bone.
yeah.
All right, that's just how bizarre it is. They are just basically like, think about a stereotypical punk of the 80s. That's what they went with here. I mean, they've got no nose rings in there, like nose rings, leather jackets, and they're just assholes.
Yeah.
They're not even bullies. They are just assholes.
Yeah. Well, the fun, like, I actually laughed out loud a couple of bits, right? Now, and obviously I know it is quite tongue-in-cheek. It must be tongue-in-cheek.
It's a comedy horror.
But when the first bit I laughed out loud is when the girl member of the Cretans bullies the kid in the classroom by... Exactly. Right, Paul's laughing his head off now because he knows it. Jumping on his head with her crotch. What was it? And then ramming it into a locker or something, doesn't it?
Don't she step on his penis?
Oh,
with,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
her
with the high
heel?
heels. And
Right.
he's like, does this comedy, ooh, type of thing.
It's like
and,
Revenge of the Nerds
Yeah.
sort of
Totally, yeah,
style.
yeah.
And she puts him between his legs and she does like this like weird wrestling move
Yeah.
where she rams him into
Yeah.
the wall and kicks him in the balls and she's absolutely ruining him. And it's like, he should be dead at this point with a little stiletto shoes.
Yeah.
It's bonk. It is nuts. I mean, there's some great like lines in it. Oh, what did I write down? Make like a hockey stick and get the hell out of here. That was one of my favourite lines.
yeah.
Because some really
Classic.
it's a classic line.
I mean, the bit with the Cretans where they're obviously in the street and they're just hanging out and they've decided that they're going to play this old woman.
This scene is amazing.
Can you remember this?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where like
Well, it's not
literally,
amazing.
yeah,
Sorry.
literally. Like, so obviously they want to rob this old woman, so they play this prank where one of them eats like Alka-Seltzer or something, so he's foaming at the mouth, preventing her of a fit. Then one of them,
Spike, the leader of the cretins.
yeah, runs over to this woman saying, "Oh, come on, he's having a fit. Help me, help me, help me." And she's just sort of looking as if she looks as if she's a real old lady in the street who isn't even in the film. She's like, "What's going on?" Then he steals her purse. She screams wildly. He runs off with her purse. Then Spike, the leader of the Cretans, not content with stealing her purse, punches her in the face. Just literally
Several times.
lamps her out. And you think, all right, well, fair enough. He wants to stop her screaming so they make her get away. But then doesn't stop there. Just keeps punching her.
He lays the boot in.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And but
It's
maybe it says more about me that I actually laughed at that bit.
Yeah, it's slapstick.
Yeah.
It's that sort of Betty Hill sort of style humour that I think he's got it from, and it sort of works. I mean,
the bonus scene. You know,
you
about the
want to talk
bonus
about
scene.
the bonus scene already?
Have I gone? Have I skipped? Sorry.
Before we get to that bit, I want to touch on the nightclub scene that went on for days.
There was plenty of extras dancing in that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
If you like to see extras dancing, watch this film.
I've got to say, that party scene was awesome. Who was that playing the band? Does anybody know what band that is?
Oh,
It's
no
like
idea.
Diva, or like it sounds like Diva, something like that. But the band is playing in the background. It's like 80s, and it's like a proper 80s party. It's supposed to be a frat party. It's not a frat house. It's like literally a club somewhere, and they've rented it out, and everybody's in like pool gear and stuff.
It's a pool party without the pool.
Yeah, and they're just going crazy. And obviously, this is
they're getting off. It's like they're getting off of each other.
Everything's going on. It's like a mass like spring break orgy. But there's one bit, and obviously where they've got the joint that's supposedly grown at the plant, the toxic plant, where it's obviously the weed is toxic.
It's the atomic high.
The atomic
Yeah,
high.
that the Cretans have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the Cretans
they-
make people buy
they
off them by
pass
kicking the
it
shit out of them.
to- yeah.
Do you want to buy some drugs? No. Yeah, I'll have some. Yeah, yeah.
They don't just nick money. They make them buy the weed.
Buy the weed, yeah.
But they obviously make the two preppy people smoke
Chrissy
it.
and Warren.
Warren. But if you remember, there's a third person that smokes the weed. It's one of the girlfriends. She also has a massive drag of it as well.
Yeah.
But nothing happens to her. Anyway, regardless of the point. Then, obviously...
And there's that really tacky music every time they take a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes...
Yeah.
And then off they go, and then they decide they're raunchy, and off they go up the thing. Now, I don't know if you two noticed this when you watched it, but they're all obviously they're all in their swimwear, and the guy's wearing his tiniest little budgie smugglers I've ever seen in my life, like blue budgie smugglers. So they go upstairs into this obviously frat boy house, and it's supposed to be a bedroom, and they go upstairs, and obviously the lady's on the bed, and she's literally sexed up, she's going crazy, and he comes up the stairs, but he's fully clothed.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you can't. The continuity in this thing you can't worry about.
No, but I was like,
you can worry
hang on
about
a minute, he was
continuity.
just in budgie smugglers, now he's in full dress, and then the most awkward sex scene happens. that's like, and then these two guys come up and start watching them, and it is like a carry-on film.
It is basically a carry-on film at this point. But yeah, she does get a little bit nudie, bit nudie and stuff like that, and they're like high as a kite. And yeah, they have the teenage sex, as it were. So it's that sort of classic moment.
All it's missing is a turkey baster.
Yeah.
Oh God. And then he takes her home to which looks like some sort of crack den in New York somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they live, but
she would live
don't
in
know if you
like a
noticed,
really
they
nice house.
They have their names on their jackets as well.
Yeah,
Chrissy
I want
and
one of those
Warren.
jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah, little preppy jackets. But then they have these what this is one we'll talk about.
There we go. There we go.
The hallucinogenic dreams that they have.
Yeah, this is mental.
So hers is kind of crazy. She thinks she's pregnant.
Which I think is a really good scene. It looks awesome. The special effects on that is really, really good.
I knew you'd love it. That's
really good.
The practical effects are really good.
Yeah, it reminded me of
Even the giant boner?
No, it is counteracted by the giant 10-pole boner going on at the same time.
I thought, when I remember
you
this
wanted
movie.
to see it, didn't you?
No, when I remember this movie,
Throbbing.
I thought that it wasn't. I thought you saw the boner.
Yeah,
I didn't realise.
You told me you saw it. I swear
thought it was. I didn't think it was covered by
I'm
sheets.
sure it wasn't a cut version.
Maybe I watched a different version.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was like this fucking telegraph pole.
Yeah, it just kept. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
But is it a dream, or does this happen? This is what I want to know.
Well, he's already impregnated her, so I think it's this like.
Oh yeah.
It's hallucinating, but right. So yeah, so that's the hallucinogenic dreams are absolutely nuts for this fucking 10-foot boner thing that he did, and he looks like he's about to explode and stuff like that. It's just it looks messed up. But doesn't he go out? So what happens next? So there's two things that happen afterwards. He goes out as like he's pissed off with the cretins for selling this weed.
Sure.
Yeah,
He's
so he
like,
goes to find them.
So he goes to find them. He turns into this.
He turns into the Hulk.
The Hulk.
Yeah.
So
So it's after they've stolen
beating the shit out
of this woman.
Granny, yeah.
They're like chucking this purse around, and he comes into this
does he
alley
kill
as the
them
Hulk. Well, yeah. So he kills
one of them.
everyone in the alley, doesn't he?
No.
And then Spike comes in to
Yeah.
find everyone dead, and then he says it's Warren.
It looked a lot like Warren.
It looked a lot like Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god! When they shouldn't have spoken.
No, like, yeah. It just. So yeah, that happens. So he's like this, like.
That's quite a cool scene as well, because he kind of like he shoves his hand down one of the guys.
Oh yeah, all the way down the throat. Yeah.
But I was expecting to see more. It's almost like they kind of stopped, and they kind of. It's almost like there was something else that they cut out. But it carried on, and then he kind of chucks Spike over into the back of a van.
Yeah.
And then like and then it cuts to the kind of like the junkyard where they hang out. And one of the teachers that Spike has molested.
Oh yeah.
Is there in a bra and knickers.
At one stage,
Just turns up.
It's mental because at one stage, like Spike, the leader, literally is about to go into a German class because they're supposed to at school.
Even for German.
And it's German. The German teacher. Everyone remembers the German teacher at school. We all had him.
I bet you remember, don't you?
It was just called.
I did Spanish.
But yeah, but he ends up snogging her, and then like outside the class, and she's like, and then she ends up just going off
Turning
to the
into
toilet.
Didn't she like slide down the wall with pleasure?
And then the next thing you know, she's like putting makeup on and being like black
That's
leather.
right.
She's one of the cretins. He's like,
turned
what
into a cretin.
is going on? But that was quality. I enjoyed that bit.
I thought it was
Fist
funny.
down the throat. Yeah, I wrote that. Chrissy miscarriage. The puke baby.
Yeah.
Is it a puke baby?
Yeah.
Oh, this weird thing happens. Go on, let's talk about that.
Can
It's
I-
like some-
before we get to that, I just want to talk about one scene that had me literally in tears. So, just before this happens, actually, it might have. No, let's talk about the puke scene first, because I think the thing I'm going to talk about is afterwards.
All right, so
she goes to the toilet.
yeah, she basically pukes up this like sort of like alien worm thing.
Yeah,
Tadpole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you think first of all you think, oh god, she can have this baby because her belly's
baby.
like going up and down, and like, but then it goes up her throat and out of her mouth.
Which is, again, it's good effects.
Again, effect wise, it's really good. And then she passes out, and this is the thing that had me in tears. When they go to the hospital scene, I don't know if you noticed it, but I was absolutely pissing myself at this point. They're having this really in-depth conversation with it's her mum talking about, oh yeah, she was 9 months pregnant and stuff like this, and she's like, what, 9 months? But in the background, there's these two doctors that have some sort of sample, and he accidentally trips, and the sample, I don't know what it is, goes over this bloke's face, and literally for about 5 minutes, he's having this fight with this other doctor because he spilled this sample in his face, and you can see him having a scuffle.
Yeah.
And then they stop scuffling and they walk away, and then literally this other doctor comes and he slips in the sample on the floor and then falls on the floor, and I'm just pissing myself because it's in the background, and it's obviously intentional, this whole storyline within a storyline, and I was just pissing myself.
I'm saying, never have extras been so well
It's
portrayed
brilliant. It's
in this
brilliant.
film.
I was absolutely wetting myself.
It's good. It's good. See, I feel like you're liking this. So, what else do we have to talk about?
You're going to be disappointed.
Kidnapping Chrissy, and then I suppose the end bit, which is just like
Okay,
fucking up the school.
before you get to this, it's like, so obviously the school, so the cretins decide to kidnap Chrissy, right? And the school has the alarm go off, which is like saying there's like been a kind of toxic spill or something at the plant, so they have to evacuate the school. So they evacuate the school, but the cretins are still in there and on their motorbikes, terrorizing the halls and everything. And then they get Chrissy and they say, there's somebody in the basement that wants to meet you. And they're like, what? And you just...
Suddenly they've acquired weapons as well.
Oh yeah, they've got like AKs.
Oh yeah, like full
And it
arsenal of.
And they kidnapped one of the teachers and they gunned down the secretary. And I was like, wow, that's dark.
Yeah, they
When
went
they
with
literally
that.
come from being these kind of naughty students to kind of like, you know, just bullying people and beating people up, to now they've got full on assault rifles and shooting teachers. And I'm thinking, wow, this is ahead of its time. And then it says somebody in the basement that wants to meet you, Chrissy. And then it cuts to the scene, and there's this woman in leather, that's a crazy punk girl that's just like licking her and kissing her, and it's just weird.
Yeah,
It's
if you wanted like not like nonsensical storyline, then this is probably not the film for you.
No.
This is just absolute bonkers, batshit comedy horror shit put in there for, I think, no reason whatsoever. In reality, but some of the you got to say he does practical effects very well.
Do you know what though? Like, even though obviously this dodgy soundtrack was still playing right at the start. Do you know at the start?
Beautiful.
The guy the
big.
I don't know why I think he's called Eugene. I don't know why he's called. They're all called no. Is it Dewey? Yeah.
Yeah, Dewey.
Yeah,
Dewey's
that bit at the
demise.
start when he gets chucked out and then melts on the floor, right? That's actually quite good.
quite
So I was
like
thinking,
it.
oh well, yeah, fair enough. Just obviously with the cheesy soundtrack playing in the background, so that's actually really, really good. The way it's done.
Yeah.
Although if you watch him falling out the window, because when I was watching it online, it buffered. So actually it stopped on the bit where he's falling out the window. And I tell you what, that stunt man, wow. He's not a skinny little boy. Honestly, it stopped when it was buffering. I thought, wow, well,
I think
that's
this has got to be the beauty of Troma, like movies, is I don't think they give a
Well, fair play. But do you know what though? Right? I don't know. There's a good film in. There's a good storyline in there.
Yeah.
And I think if they did give a fuck, it would have been a better film. Even though even they keep the tongue-in-cheek element, they could have strung a plot together. Because it just seems like, and now we cut to the Cretans who are going to kick the shit out of an old lady. You know, and now here's the Hulk.
Let's talk about...
Sorry, the end.
The end.
Yeah.
So, obviously, now Chrissy's little sick baby in the toilet has gone down the tubes and kind of busted out one of the pipes and fell in some toxic waste. And you kind of see a scene where one of the plant guys goes in and is doing some testing. He gets eaten by this creature or whatever is in the vat. So we cut to the end where Chrissy has been kind of abducted by Spike and I can't remember the other girl's name, but the other punk girl.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh god, how's she gonna get out of this? And then suddenly this creature just comes out of nowhere. Now I really like this creature. I mean, it's like they do show close-ups of him, but obviously they haven't had a massive budget on this movie.
I have a Geordie Paul fact.
Go on.
To trump Matt's fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got many.
So after I watched this, I sort of, because I wanted to be fully prepared,
You're gonna ruin my Matt's
I
back.
pay a professional at this, and am I going to ruin this about the creature?
No, go ahead.
Oh, is that they didn't have enough money to
Yeah, they
finish
ran-
the
yeah,
creature,
they ran out of
so
money.
they only had enough to build its head, at the start of its torso, and one arm.
But then again, I don't don't know.
It's enough.
I don't know if I agree with that, because a lot of monsters in that age of that time, they only did heads and arms, because they did.
Yeah,
that
but
in
they
a lot
did
of
arms, not just one arm.
things. Right, okay. But to be fair, it wasn't that bad. I
No.
quite liked the creature. I thought it looked cool, and what they used film wise for it and the angles and stuff, it was pretty good for what they
Yeah,
had.
it killed the crap out of some of the Cretans.
Yeah, I
and
liked the
took
death
them
scenes
out
with them.
took
Yeah.
them out like no end. It was beautiful.
Yeah, so that happens, and then obviously our hero comes along. And
Warren.
I was expecting Warren to change again.
Yeah,
I was waiting for him to change.
I know.
He's
Obviously,
no longer
I've
the
not
Hulk.
seen this film, and I was waiting for him to change, and obviously he doesn't. But then there's a scene where before they were talking about some laser and don't mess around with that laser. 'Cause
that
at
laser's
that time,
brilliant.
I think lasers
That
were
laser
in.
is brilliant.
Those lasers were in it.
Oh, them lasers.
And obviously he grabs this machine and it's a laser and it kind of kills.
Well, it blows up the school,
Yeah, it
blows
blows
up
up the school.
everything.
And then it blows up. But yeah, and then the school just smashes down and stuff.
And then obviously this is towards the end of the film, but I think the single best bit of the film, right? And I'm not saying this to sound funny because it's the end, but everything's done, everything's saved, and the little twist at the end when the little tadpole monster jumps out and essentially winks at the camera right at the end.
It's beautiful.
It's just like,
And you're welcome to
he's like, all right.
Return of Nukem High. Absolute genius. I mean, yeah, I need to get everything of theirs and just literally demolish them, because
Do you know what? I got to be honest, and this is how I felt about this film. I sat there and I was completely engrossed in this movie. I did not know where it was going to go. I didn't know what it was going to do. And I fucking loved it.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Paul.
Oh, Jesus.
But I loved it because it was just it went completely just off the rails. It is the only way I can say it is it's one hot mess. And I think it obviously
One hot
was
mess,
it was
yeah.
supposed to be. I don't know. It for me it epitomizes the 80s. It's just like it's 80s soundtrack, it's 80s fashion, it's 80s horror, it's 80s prosthetics and all this stuff, and it was just and I gotta say I was interested in it all. for every fault that it had, I found something that I loved, and after the movie I was just like, I need to find out more about this shit. I want to watch more of his movies. I want to see what's next. I need to watch the next Class of Nuke High. I was just like, it really. I'm sorry, but it was absolutely. I loved it. Anyway,
Go on then, Geordie Paul. What do you
Well,
think of
look,
it?
talking with you now, I think I've enjoyed the film more than I actually
Yeah,
thought I
exactly
did.
that.
The only thing is that I think, and I still maintain this, I think if I'd have watched that as a younger
Yeah.
gentleman
Sure.
or a young lad when it came out, I think I would look back on it more fondly than
Yeah,
watching
I-
it now. When I think I probably looked at it or watched it with the wrong head on, because
Maybe.
I wouldn't consider myself a film snob, but I
You're-
did just I
Yeah.
don't know if I've gone past that bit of, because I'm not a huge horror fan, you know, and like all encompassing horror. I thought it was just a bit naff, but I laughed.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, obviously, it's not scary at all. Let's
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest, it's
It's
not
comedy horror.
But I laughed, and obviously it made me remember things that I'd already seen back in the day,
Yeah.
like Bad Taste, and the films of that ilk, whereby, you know, the video man that used to come
Yeah.
around used to be like, "Hey, we'll just get this." You know, I don't know why it made me. Have you ever seen a film called Doppelganger with Drew Barrymore? in?
Doppelganger with Drew
No,
Barrymore.
and it's got nothing to do with it,
But it's got
but
a
it
weird
just
little bit in it.
Yeah.
The monster sort of thing.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
just it reminded me of watching things like that. So, in fairness to it, it did. But and for comedy gold in some places.
The thing is that I think I respect most out of this movie for when it's made is the fact it had the balls to just go out there and go, fuck this shit, I'm going to do what the fuck I want, I'm going to make the film myself. He's gone out, he's done everything himself. The writers, the producers, everything, they've done everything themselves. They've gone, fuck the studios, I'm going to do what I want, I'm going to make what I want, and it's going to be what I want. And I fucking totally like
But
respect that.
Yeah, no.
And how bad it is, how good it is, but it's meant to be bad. It's meant to be that way. But I've got to say, I will say, it's like Marmite. I think you either love it or you kind of hate it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like watching it. It was just everything rolled into it. And like I said before, it's like a hot mess. But I totally respect where it's coming from. I totally do.
This is everything. This movie for me, from a nostalgia point of view, this is everything I love about 80s horror. I mean, it's what, like you've mentioned Bad Taste, and when you got Bad Taste and Brain Dead, Return of the Living Dead, and all those sort of movies. This, it's just got that. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's naughty.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's naughty.
Shouldn't be watching it.
Yeah, if I shouldn't be watching this because it's got boobs.
Boobs.
It's got boobs. It's got
faces
teenage
melting off.
sex in it, and it's got faces. It's got faces melting off. When I watched it, I knew that I shouldn't be watching this movie. This is like the worst of the worst. It's
And by the way, there's several women. There's several women that get punched in this film, which is like, oh my god.
Yeah.
The misogyny in this movie is nuts.
Yeah.
But like, but it's done with matter of
Comedy
fact and
value.
the tongue of cheek.
Yeah.
It knows what it is. It knows exactly what kind of movie it is, and I just love it. It's like it reminds me of being 15 and watching those movies where you're not meant to watch, like Total Recall, when the first time you saw those free boobs. It's that.
You
it's
wish,
that
you
sort of
wish
movie.
I had. You maybe wish I had 3 hands.
I got 5 kids to feed, man.
It's that sort of movie, and if you guys,
I'm glad you
guys
said
had
that. I'm
watched-
not quato. That would have been weird.
Yeah. If you guys had watched like 50, like when you're 15, it would be that movie that you wanted to talk about with all your mates in school. You're like, I watched this fucked up movie.
It's like
last
Monster
night."
Squad.
Oh,
You watch Monster Squad now, and if
doesn't really hold
you
up.
show somebody who's never seen Monster Squad the film now, they'll think it's the biggest pile of shit
Yeah.
they've
Oh,
ever
yeah,
seen
they
in
go,
their
"This is
life.
a crap,
What is
Goonies."
this? But when you watched it as a kid and you just
brilliant.
maintain
It's got a
that all the
special
way
place
through,
in your
yeah,
heart,
it's
innit?
just there,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah.
So yeah, you guys, that's why I'm really enthusiastic. You guys seem to kind of like it. So
I was still shit. Don't worry. That's right.
Yeah, of course it's shit, but that's the whole point. These movies is like it knows exactly what it is, and I love it.
Right,
So-
I'm all in. I want to watch the more.
okay, well, we'll get older some more. So what we're going to rate it?
Yeah, why not?
Go on then. And then you can do
You
your.
gotta go with the original fan first, mate.
Okay, well for me it's oh god, I got because nostalgia perspective. I mean, it's got to be an 8 for me.
I'll go next. I think for me, slightly lower 7, but that's a high 7. Probably if I was the same as you, I probably it would have. If I watched it when I was younger, it would have been an 8. But purely just because of its balls out, didn't know what to expect. I got total respect for this film, and I totally understand what it's about. Yeah, he's a 7.
Cool,
Geordie
cool.
Paul. Do you want to read this?
Um,
Be honest, mate.
well, no, it's not my cup of tea, but obviously I'll give it an extra point because obviously I've had actually a lot of fun talking about it. So I'll give it a 5.
Fair play.
So that's a draw on last breath.
Well, that's probably
10 out of 10.
Yeah, my vote doesn't count. They'll cut me out of
7
this.
out of 10. So that's
7
cool.
out of 10. That's cool.
You got any Matt's facts on it?
Do you know what? I've got a few.
Ooh, I'm
And
excited to hear.
this was hard to find facts on this. I don't know what happened with this, but maybe they were just too stoned or whatever to remember the facts.
Or ashamed.
But I couldn't find much about. I digged quite deep for this, and I only found a few facts. And I don't know whether it's because they didn't record these facts or whatever. But yeah, I only got a couple. So a couple of them were like Brad Dunker was one of the cretins or cretins, whatever you like to call them. He was a head cretin. I think it's Spike.
Yeah.
But he was only chose to be one of the head ones because he could ride a motorcycle. He's only one of a few that could ride a motorcycle.
Good reason.
Which was quite weird. Now
Fair
this explains a lot. Now, to me, the biggest thing that took me out of this film was there's a character called Taro.
Right.
She was the bird in the basement with the punk. She was a punk in the basement. Now, she was supposed to have a much bigger role, but apparently in real life, she got in a really bad car accident.
Oh, wow.
So she couldn't do most of the scenes. So Miffy, which is the other girl that beat up the nerd,
Yeah.
took over most of her roles. So that's why it's kind of weird when it cuts to her in the basement. You're like, who is she? Where has she come from?
Oh, okay.
So she was supposed to be throughout the film a lot, but obviously she had a car accident. I don't know what happened, but that's why Miffy took up most of her scenes. The only other thing is that I've got, and this is the last thing, and it's really weird, there's no more. I thought there'd be absolutely loads. Actually, there's 2 things. There's a lot of references, if you look in the background, to Toxic Avenger. There's like a mop just like literally on the side, and then there's in the canteen there's a guy in the background mopping away. Obviously I think they're just like little references to Toxic Avenger.
Nice.
And the last thing was the original title for this movie was meant to be Nukem High, but they changed it because they wanted people they thought that it would be good because they thought that people would go to this movie thinking it was the class of 1984.
Okay.
They thought they'd get more bumps on seats. I don't
Good
know
at
whether
marketing. He's good at
don't know whether
marketing.
that's true or
I'll
not.
tell you what, if you met Lloyd Kaufman and you ever had the pleasure of speaking to him,
He's a salesman.
He's
right.
a salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that's all I've got. There wasn't really much. I digged as deep as I could on the internet, but there really wasn't that much.
They should have just called it Terminator 5. It wouldn't have had no bearing on the plot.
Oh, that was wicked. That was good fun today.
Mm.
You need to do your pick for
So-
next time.
My pick for next time is going to be, I don't know if you've seen this or you can get hold of it. It's easy. You should be able to. Is Clive Barker's Nightbreed.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
This is going to be a good one. It's really
So
interesting.
Clive Barker did
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
That's correct.
He
That's
did
correct.
Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Clive Barker's Nightbreed.
Yeah.
I know the name. I have no idea what I'm expecting on this
It's
one.
good. I like
Alright,
that.
Cool.
This is interesting. I'm really interested to find out what you think because this one's an interesting.
Cool. I'm up for a new one. Sounds pretty cool. Clive Barker's Nightbreed.
Yeah. That'll be on the in 2 weeks' time.
Cool. So I suppose you have to say thanks to Geordie Paul.
Massive
Thanks for
fan.
having me. Thanks
Yeah,
for
it's
having
been
me.
great.
It's been fun.
It's been good fun actually today.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, really good fun.
So what about the next episode?
So in the next episode, obviously we said we're going to be doing Halloween.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
The Blumhouse. The
Can I
new
come back?
Blumhouse. I can't wait. So in 2 weeks' time, we'll come back and we would have watched the new Halloween and be able to review that. We've also got hopefully we got a special treat.
We'll see.
We'll see. We're going to go to a John Carpenter concert next Tuesday. So we're going to meet John Carpenter and we'll see what
Fingers
happens with
crossed.
that. Yeah. But regardless of that, we're going to be coming back in 2 weeks and reviewing Halloween.
It's going to be a fun one.
Something to scream about topic. Geordie Paul, you want to pick something out
We're
of
going
the
to pick
bucket
now.
now?
Well, the
Geordie
pressure's
Paul's
on,
gonna
the pressure's
pick and
on.
talk.
Okay.
Good one, for Christ's sake.
Drum roll.
What have I got? What have I got? What have I got?
Okay, what are we doing?
Oh, it's the favourite paranormal movie.
Ooh,
our
that's a
favourite
good one.
paranormal
Well
movie.
done.
Well,
that.
thank you very much. Yeah.
Good, thank you for
pick.
picking that.
That films with ghosts in them, then.
And Matt picked out his movie from the vault, which would be Clive Barker's Nightbreed. So I'm looking forward to that. So I guess there's we'll just if you ever want to get in contact and talk to us about anything, like tell us your favourite paranormal movie, tell us what you think about the Nightbreed. I mean, everyone's got to go and watch this Halloween movie. So once you go and see it, tell us what you think on social media, and you can do so by going on Twitter at Draw One Last Breath Podcast at Draw One Last.
Get involved.
Yeah, get on Facebook at Draw One Last Breath Podcast. Or find us on Instagram at Draw One Last Breath Podcast. Or you can email us at drawonelastbreathpod@hotmail.com.
And just before we go, I just want to put in one last thing. If anybody gets a chance, me and Paul have donated to the Kickstarter of the 80s horror doc. I really advise you to be quick and get in there, and if you can, donate some money.
Yeah, they've already hit their first target of $25,000, but they're going for their stretch target, which is going to increase the amount of like extra parts they go and see and the amount of people that they can go and actually view. Like I said, me and Matt have both donated, and if you can just go to check them out on Twitter at 80s Horror Doc.
Yeah, it's all on Kickstarter, so get involved because that is going to be huge.
I think if you watch the trailer speaks for itself.
Definitely.
It's very good.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess there's only one more thing to say.
A massive thanks to Geordie Paul.
And when there's no more room in hell,
Here's another podcast.